Black Ops 6 is just weeks away and now feels like a perfect time to take a look back at Modern Warfare 3 one last time. We've already looked at everything they did well, which I will link in the description, but let's talk about everything they did badly. And let's face it, that's much more interesting anyway. Let's do it. Gunsmith. When are we going to be done with this stupid Gunsmith system? Nobody likes it, nobody utilizes its potential, nobody uses it for anything good. Nobody. We all find the same 5 to 10 attachments that work on a weapon class, and we use those for the entire year. Why do I need to be scrolling through literally hundreds of fucking optics for my weapon? Is there a red dot or some variation of a red dot? Perfect. Let's go. I get it. Some of these can be useful for Warzone. I totally get that. That's a totally different conversation. The fact remains, I shouldn't have to scroll through hundreds of optics, rear grips, stocks, underbarrels, etc. Just to find a setup that I like. It's exhausting. And most of the time, the attachments just do the same thing, but look a little bit different. I'm not saying we have to go back to the old days, where there was only like 10 attachments in total to choose from, but there has to be a middle ground somewhere. This is absolutely ridiculous. It looks like Black Ops 6 is getting somewhat of a middle ground based on the beta, but in my opinion, there was still too many options. Maybe I'm too old school and this is just me yelling at a cloud, but there needs to be a change, or I'm gonna lose my mind, if I haven't already. Modern Warfare 2 Carryforward. Every year, Warzone adds everything from the game from the year prior. This year, Modern Warfare 2 22 weapons and attachments carried into Warzone for Modern Warfare 3 23. But they also carried them forward into multiplayer. Why? I don't think I saw a single Modern Warfare 2 weapon used all year. And why would you? Who wants to use the same shit year after year? A whole new game just dropped with like 30 new weapons to use. Mix it up. I understand they were kind of pushing the DLC narrative with this release, so it was kind of a unique situation, but this should never happen again. The Gunsmith is already bloated enough as it is. I didn't need 60-ish weapons and their attachments added into it as well. I understand why they do this for Warzone, but this should absolutely be a Warzone thing only. Thankfully, Black Ops 6 will not have any carry forward items in multiplayer, and everything will be a fresh start. This is part of the fun of an annual release, starting fresh, and this formula works. I've been playing for 18 years. Side scroll UI. I'm so sick of this side-scrolling Hulu streaming platform UI. It is so bad. Please change it immediately. They keep trying to make COD HQ happen.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
And it just sucks. I wouldn't even mind it if it was just for main menu scrolling. But we have to side scroll in literally every menu in the game. And when there's hundreds of attachments, this can be daunting. These menus were great for streaming platforms, 100%. But this is not a streaming platform. This is a video game. This shit does not work and nobody wants it. The COD HQ can keep their menu like this, that's fine. But once I'm actually in-game, I should never see that UI style. We'll see what happens in the future, but with Modern Warfare 3, this was an issue. Heightened by the sheer number of weapons and attachments to scroll through. No original maps. The amount of 6v6 support we got post-launch more than made up for this, but releasing a new Call of Duty game with no original maps is criminal. It's not even like we were getting good maps at release. The Modern Warfare 2 maps are very overhyped, and should be kept back in 2009 where they belong. I mean, we were running around on Derail in 2024, and people were just leaving. What did they think was going to happen? Worse than that, all of the marketing was built around this, and I hate to admit it, it sucked me in. Am I glad I bought the game? For sure. I had some great times on this game, but that was largely due to everything they added post-launch. We ended up getting some fantastic maps, and hopefully developers never use this cop-out again, unless it's for like a best of Call of Duty maps game. Skill-based matchmaking. I wasn't going to talk about SBMM, as we all know what it is, but it has to at least be touched on. I'm not naive enough to think that they would ever take SBMM out of the game. It's a part of online multiplayer gaming, and it always will be. despite everyone's best wishes. The best we can hope for is that it gets toned down. To put the cherry on top, now we have EOMM, which is Engagement Optimized Matchmaking, which basically manipulates you into thinking you're nasty, only to get absolutely steamrolled for a few games, and then rinse and repeat. It's a busted system, but it's not going anywhere, so we just have to suck it up and try to enjoy COD as much as possible. Cheaters. It's been a few years since Call of Duty's anti-cheat Ricochet released, and it certainly hasn't been great. The problem is that Ricochet is a non-kernel level anti-cheat, which essentially means it's interacting with the game itself by attempting to learn how cheaters aim and move. This is the reason some people can be shadow banned. The anti-cheat picks up on your aim and movement, but there are times when someone is just genuinely amazing at the game, and it tracks it as cheating. They should be running a kernel-level anti-cheat, which interacts with the entire system scanning for programs, interacting with the game in unison. Obviously, a much more reliable way to catch cheaters of all kinds. There are definitely ways around it, but they're harder than just dodging Ricochet. I don't know if this switch will happen soon, just because Activision has dumped so many resources and financing into Ricochet, but one thing is for sure, cheaters need to go. Too many map variants. There was a lot of 6v6 support post-launch, as I've touched on before, and part of that support was map variants. We got a total of 15 map variants in the game. Granted, a lot of these are shipment variants, which still supports the point. Do we really need that many map variants in the game? I understand these were special map skins to tie into a different part of the game, but I feel like resources could have been spent elsewhere, or even on designing more original maps. These were cool additions to feel like the map pool was a little diverse, but I don't think they were necessary. War and ground war support. The amount of support these two modes got this year is laughable. I've never really been a ground war guy, but there weren't any updates for ground war all year long. Modern Warfare 3 released with 3 ground war maps, and ended with 3 ground war maps. I've also heard that it didn't really play that well, which doesn't surprise me considering the maps are literally just Warzone POIs, and Warzone has never played like a typical COD map. Then, there's War, which released with 1 map, and it was pretty mid. It just doesn't feel like Call of Duty. For those who did enjoy War, at least they got another map released in season with Operation Tin Man, which is more than Ground War got. I think the direction Call of Duty is headed is trending more and more away from these larger player size big map type modes. If you want that, go play Warzone. The developers either need to start showing support for the modes, or just take them out completely. Armory Unlocks. Armory Unlocks were advertised as a fun new way to unlock gear. That may have been true at first, but nobody knew what the hell they were doing with these things. Eventually, I just let the next unlock auto-generate. I would unlock it, then move on to the next one. Maybe that's just me being lazy, but I already had everything I wanted, so it didn't really see the point of individually choosing anymore. Definitely an interesting take on unlocks at the start, but nobody had a damn clue how to use them, and they stopped being relevant eventually. I don't think these are making a return in future CODs, nor do I think they should. Tac Stance. It wouldn't be Call of Duty if it didn't release with a gimmicky gameplay element that we'll never see again. That's what Tac Stance was for Modern Warfare 3. They even worked it into one of the camo challenges to force people to use it. The gameplay element itself wasn't even horrible to use. I understand where they were coming from, and it definitely had a purpose, but the animation for it was for sure broken, especially when slide canceling. Sometimes when you slide cancels with an SMG, this only happened on SMGs for me, I don't know if it happened for the other guns or not, it would try to enter the Tac Stance animation, and then cancel back into normal aim. This made it seem like the slide cancel animation was a little longer than it should have been. There was actually some pretty crazy Tac Stance build in the game at one point, and gave people that didn't give a shit a hilarious new way to play. But I'm fine with leaving this feature behind. Campaign. I wasn't going to include the campaign on this list, but it was just so bad that I had to. I'm a sucker for a good campaign, and this was the opposite of that. This truly felt like it could have been DLC for Modern Warfare 2, which, to be fair, I think it was originally supposed to be. They introduced open combat missions, which was essentially Warzone being shoved down your throat, but campaign style. These missions were so boring and so bad, I can't believe they released. It's like they couldn't write enough story to fill the linear style missions, And then we got these as filler. Call of Duty campaigns are best when it's a linear style. Always has, always will. They shouldn't stray from this formula, and the linear missions in this game were actually quite good. It's too bad we didn't get a full campaign full of them. Plus, they killed Soap. Again! In the most anticlimactic way. It didn't have any meaning. When the OG Modern Warfare 3 Soap died, I was sitting there in tears. No round-based zombies. A very quick note on zombies. If Call of Duty is going to do zombies, it needs to be round-based. This got so stale, so fast, and was essentially a camel grinding simulator for Borealis. Open world zombies definitely has a place in gaming, but not Call of Duty. Bring on BO6 zombies. And there you have it. That's everything I didn't like about Modern Warfare 3. Overall, I actually enjoyed this game, and I'm very happy with the direction they took. Every COD is going to have bad elements to it, and as far as bad goes, this is on the lower end of things. I want to hear from you. What didn't you like about Modern Warfare 3? Let me know in the comments, and if you're still here, make sure to subscribe.